So I run upstairs to get my clothes on so I can get in the car and go look for Baxter. And there he is, just pretty as you please, sitting in the big recliner that we have in our bedroom. The funny thing is, I had gone up there once to see if he had crawled back into bed, because sometimes he gets back under the covers when it's really cold. I must have walked right past him and looked at the bed, and he wasn't in the bed. And so I don't know if that's the funniest part, or if the funniest part is that I called my husband back. I actually took a picture of Baxter in the chair and texted it to my husband and said something to the effect of, "I am losing my mind." And my husband wrote me back and said, "Oh, don't feel too bad. I was just getting ready to shut down my computer to come home and help you look for him." Brian and Baxter are very, very close. He's always that guy that doesn't want to get a dog or a cat, and then they love him the most when we do get them. And he had that same relationship. Our golden retriever, who lived to be 17 when she passed away several years ago, was definitely my dog and definitely closest to me, although she was a golden and she loved everybody. But pretty much every other dog we've had has been completely and utterly dedicated to my husband, and he likewise is very dedicated to them. He would never admit that, but so I thought that was very, very funny. And yeah, I apparently he didn't go out. I know he came running down the stairs, but I think when I opened the door, I think he just decided not to go out, and then he went back upstairs and went back to sleep in the big recliner, and that was that. Anyway, what else have I been working on? Oh, I did several of these several weeks ago, but I did a third kind of wool feather tree, and I used white wool this time around, and have now, I think, kind of perfected how long to cut the branches and sort of kind of how to wrap it and how to do it. It takes a really long time. It takes a good 2.5 hours to do one of these. I taught several people how to do them on Friday at Rug Cooking, and they said it took them closer to 5 hours, and I think for the first one it does. It takes about half a yard of wool, and it takes a dowel and some floral wire and a few other supplies, but it doesn't take a lot of supplies, but it does take a considerable amount of time. But the end result is kind of cool. I really do like them. I know that Colleen actually bought hers, and I know she watches these videos, and so she was having a lot of fun at Friday afternoon Rug Cooking, rubbing in the fact that she bought 2 feather trees made out of wool and didn't have to make hers while we were all slaving away making ours. But I think we want to make some black ones for Christmas using some black wool. I think that'll be really neat, and that'll be a lot of fun. So anyway, here's a picture of my white feather tree. So I think that's kind of it for this week, with Maddie coming home today. So we're going to spend the week baking cookies, just a little bit more Christmas shopping. I'm pretty much done. I have I'm not done with my husband. He's a hard one, and I'm having a hard time getting from him what he would like. I know he wants, and I don't know this because he didn't tell me this, he told my oldest this, that he wants a new toolbox, and so I'm going to go to Menards at some point this week and get him a new toolbox. But I am really at a loss for what to get him this year, kind of struggling with that. And but the kids are done, and in fact, even Christmas stockings are done, which a lot of times I don't get that done until about the week of Christmas. So I'm finished for all intents and purposes, and we'll pick up a couple things. I know that Maddie still wants to do some shopping, and I'll bet you anything Ryan will come home and will not have shopped for anyone yet, so he'll need to do some shopping, and he doesn't get home until the 19th. So but looking forward to having them both home. Kind of sad that Caitlin and Caleb won't be here, but that's how it is when they get older, and they'll have a good time in Colorado, so that'll be fine. We're greeting at the 6 o'clock service on Christmas Eve, and so it'll be a late dinner. Ryan's playing in the praise band at both services, so which we have a 4 and a 6. So it'll be a late dinner, and then we do presents, Christmas Eve, and so it'll be a late night, and then maybe we'll sleep in a little bit. Yeah, it'll just be kind of a nice, quiet Christmas. I'm really looking forward to it. I had a little bit of a weird thing happen last week. For about the last year, I've kind of had high blood pressure, and every time I've gone in for a doctor's appointment, for whatever, and they've taken it, oh, it's kind of high, and so this last time I went in, and she said, I'd really like you to consider going on blood pressure medicine, and I said, well, I've actually lost about 30 pounds, and I've actually lost closer to 35 now, but at that point, and I said, can you give me 6 months and see if I'd like to lose another 20 to 25. If I lose that, and see what happens with my blood pressure. And she said, okay, but take it frequently, and make sure it's not getting too crazy, too out of control. So earlier in the week, last week, I wasn't feeling good. I was just feeling kind of off, and kind of having a racing heart, and just not feeling great. And I thought I'm going to take my blood pressure and see. I have a blood pressure cuff, and I took it, and it was like it was like 187 over 110, so it was a little bit high. So I kind of went online and, how do you get your blood pressure down right away? And I did all of the, sort of holistic things that you can do to kind of get your blood pressure down. And I did get it down a little bit, not much. Try to relax, try to rest, try to knit. Knitting always helps me relax. Try to read. Reading usually helps me relax. Stitching and needlepoint and some of that kind of thing does not. It's not that it stresses me, it's just that it gets me going, so, but anyway, by the end of the week, I finally decided that it was too high, and it was kind of scaring me, and so I called, and so I started taking blood pressure medicine on Friday, and, it seems to be going well, and my blood pressure is down, and so I feel much better about that, but there's a few little side effects to it. I do feel really super tired, and I'm assuming that's because my blood is not, coursing through my veins at the speed of light, but the heart's not racing anymore, and so that's all good, and so I feel good about that, and I feel like, okay, this isn't the end of the world, and maybe once I lose the rest of the weight, I can go off the medicine. I don't know. So other than that, I think, I think that's about it. So I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm sorry this wasn't really loaded with stitching stuff. I have 16 projects sitting over there. Oh, I know. I have one more little story for you. I've talked about Dory Kehoe before. Dory doesn't make YouTube videos. She lives in North Carolina, and I met her at the Midwest Cross Stitchers Retreat, and we just kind of hit it off, and you just hit it off with people sometimes, and you just do, and we did, and so we talk, and we were talking about, she asked me how I track my projects and my stash, and I said, well, I don't really, and I really should, and she said, well, I can send you my spreadsheet. I have this really great spreadsheet that I use, and I can send that to you and share that with you, and so she did. This has been probably a month ago, and so I started kind of spending a few minutes every day at the end of work, entering all of my stash and all of my charts and all of my kits and all of my whips into kind of a spreadsheet. And I use Excel spreadsheets for work, so I'm pretty familiar with them. And so I created one, kind of used Dory's a little bit and made some changes to fit me better. But so I have everything entered except for one bookshelf, and it's just one, well, it's about a shelf and a half that is full of whips. But in each, and they're all in project bags, and in each project bag, I think, is pretty much only one whip. So there aren't multiple whips in a project bag. Those have not been entered yet. But other than that, everything else, every chart I have, every whip I have, every kit that I have has been entered. And I will let you know that I am up to 229. So 229 includes, not kitted and just plain charts and whips that I have started. That is ridiculous. So, so I think when I'm done, after I enter all of the ones from this last bookshelf or bookshelf and a half, I'm guessing I'm going to be 250, 275. So I've sort of made a New Year's resolution, an early New Year's resolution. I don't usually make New Year's resolutions, but something kind of has to give here, and I need to start making some progress. And what I have decided is that I'm going to work, and with Dory's help, I am going to work on things that I'm gonna pick a couple projects. So here's the thing: I have a lot of Christmas, and I would really like to have more Christmas up. I have very little Christmas cross stitch actually up. I have a lot of ornaments on the tree, but really almost nothing framed, and so I would like to have more of those up. And so I have decided that beginning January 1, I'm going to work on I'm going to really work on 4 things in a given month. I'm going to start with Christmas Rules by Lizzie Kate. I'm going to work on that part of the week. I'm going to work on Halloween Rules by Lizzie Kate for part of the week, and probably a smaller part of the week. I'm going to work on Winter Mirabilia because Nicole and I are starting that. Nicole Buckeye Stitcher and I are starting a stitch along with that January 1. And actually Dory got us into that too, because Dory had finished hers and I was so in love with it. Or actually I think we're kind of starting at New Year's Eve. And then I'll do an ornament. I'm going to try to do an ornament a month. And those ornaments will probably be something from Main Street or Farmhouse Christmas. So that's kind of going to be my thing. And then once I get, either Halloween Rules or Christmas Rules done, then I'm going to attack the next kind of big project that I have. I'm kind of guessing once I get Christmas Rules done, maybe it'll be like spring at that point, then I'm not going to feel like working on Christmas probably. But I have a couple of Christmas projects that aren't super, super Christmassy. Feliz Navidad is one of those, and then there are a couple of pretty big samplers that are, and I can't even think of what they're called now, that aren't super Christmassy that I think I could start. So that's kind of my game plan going into 2019, and then just to kind of knock things out and get some of the bigger projects done. Quilts is another one by Long Dog that I'd really like to get done. I'd love to get either one of my Hawk Run Hollows done, the Shores of, or Halloween. I think that if I start another big project after I get Christmas Rules done, it might be the Shores of Hawk Run Hollow, or it might be Quilts. It'll probably be the Shores of Hawk Run Hollow. So that's kind of my game plan going into 2019, and I'm super excited about it. I have been really, really scattered the last probably year and a half, and it's finally starting to kind of get to me and wear on me, and I'm getting to where I don't really want to look at cross stitch sometimes because I feel overwhelmed by how many and how much and how many whips I have and all of that good stuff. And I have beautiful pieces that I want to finish. So yeah, that's what I'm that's the direction I'm going to take. I'm going to try not to buy anything new unless it's something that I need for a current project. I'm on a couple of like the Priscilla hands-on design chalk on the farm, I think that's called. Is that what it's called? So I'll have to go pick that up because I'm on the automatic order from Julie for that. But other than that, I'm going to try really hard not to order anything new. I got a lovely gift in the mail today. Kathy Colvin, another non-floss tuber who I think should do floss tube and kind of new to cross stitch, person that I met at Midwest, sent me a Prairie Schooler. I think it's called Starry Night, and it's a nativity Prairie Schooler with various nativity vignettes. Absolutely gorgeous. It's done in blue and black, or kind of a purpley blue and black. Just beautiful. I'll show that to you next time. Anyway, that's all for now, guys. This is probably going to be it for me for this year. I wish you guys the merriest of Christmases, and I just wish you peace and plenty and just much joy in the coming year. Bye, guys.